Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. As we begin, we always like to do, you see this right here? This is what we love to do. We love to interact with you. So if you would do me a huge favor, like this post and share it. That tells Facebook and YouTube that we're doing a good job. And let us know you're here. Tell us where you're joining us from and what you're excited about, what you feel life and momentum on. I'm going to double check a couple of things to make sure that we're not having any audio issues. It looks like we're okay. Let me know if you guys are hearing me okay. Let me say hello to a few people who are saying hello to me. Miles in San Diego, Vernice in Florida, MJ from, how do you say that? Waxahachie, Texas. Did I pronounce that right? Americo from Richmond, Virginia. Gerlinda, who says, can't wait for tonight's session. Those still munching on advanced coaching from this weekend. Yes, we had advanced skills training this weekend. So Gerlinda was one of those that was knocking out her certified professional coach certification, advanced certification, which we're so proud of. Let me see who else I need to say hello to. Americo says, very pumped about this new chapter in life. Charlotte's joining us from Illinois. Good to see you. Again, if you're just making it in, you haven't missed anything yet, let us know that you are here. Do me a couple of favors. One, like this post and share it. It tells Facebook and YouTube we're doing a good job. And we try really hard. Not only do we want to help you in coaching skills, but we also want to help you have a thriving coaching practice. This particular series is very focused on the skill side and the nuanced kinds of things that we're going to be dealing with as coaches. And I'm talking specifically about procrastination. But before we jump in, let me say hello to a couple more people. No one says it correctly at your job. All right. Well, I guess I got it right. That's awesome. Keep those comments coming in. And again, let us know that you are here. Tell us where you are joining us from. I'm all the way over here in California in the studio. So I don't have the pleasure of seeing your face or hearing your beautiful voice. So do me a huge favor. Jump into the chat. Let us know you're here. Also, again, like and share this, especially if you're finding Mentor Mondays are really beneficial for you. That's what we're always trying to do, is support and help you be a better coach and also to thrive in your coaching practice. There's Diane. Group coaching is exciting. Good. Awesome. Well, I'm going to throw this at the bottom. I'll say more about it in a little bit, but this weekend is boot camp weekend. Start Friday, end Sunday. It's our 3-day certification training. We compile everything that you normally would get in the life coach certification course. We start Friday night with foundations of coaching, and then we go through all of the training all day Saturday, all day Sunday. So you'll be drinking from a fire hose, but the beautiful thing of it is that you will be knocking out all of your certification training. You just need to turn in your assignments and take the exam, and you are done. So for those of you who have been procrastinating, see what I did there? Procrastinating. Well, I can help you get through it really quickly. Some of you procrastinate because of the money, and you're like, I don't want to make this big decision. Some of you procrastinate because of your time and the fact that you're going to have to put the work in and everything else. Well, listen, we can make it as painless as possible. You get to join us this weekend. Not only join us this weekend, but you get to connect with other coaches from all over the world. So what do we do during this? You go through the training. Obviously, there's a lot of lecture and training when it comes to that. But there's a lot of interactive time because we do live Q&As at the end of all 7 of those sessions. And you'll get to role play. You'll get to connect with other people. It's a dynamic group of people, brilliant people from all over the world. I would highly recommend that you join us. Let me say hello to a couple of more people. Americo says, invest in yourself. It is worth it. And Americo is joining us this weekend. So good. Nikki's joining us from St. Louis, which is great. All right. Well, let's talk about what we're talking about this week. This is the second week of the Life Coach's Guide to Procrastination. And last week, what you learned is that there are 6 procrastination types or procrastinator types. And so I gave you an overview of all 6, and what we're going to do is each week we're going to take on one of those procrastinator types. And what we found for some of you is you actually found your procrastinator type last week. And so what you're going to do, you're going to get 2 things out of this. One is that if you find your procrastinator type, then we're going to help you. But we're also going to be helping you coach the people who exhibit these procrastinator types. You're going to know why they do it, and you're going to know how to help them. And we're going to give you some specific tools. I'm going to show you where they get stuck, and then you're going to have tools to be able to coach them. So, having said that, let's start with what this week's procrastinator type actually is, which is the perfectionist. And I want to give you this definition again. We gave you that definition last week, but I want to remind you of it again. The perfectionist doesn't start the task because of a fear of failure. However, for the perfectionist, failure, it's very interesting, it equates to not doing the task perfectly. So the typical perfectionist belief might sound something like, if I don't do the task extremely well, then I am a failure. Well, for perfectionists, and many of you who are watching, here's one of the things that I find amongst coaches is that most coaches are big time overachievers, very well learned people. And the way that imposter syndrome often shows in coaches, which is contagious, it's very prevalent amongst coaches, is that in many cases, that imposter syndrome shows up as perfectionism. And so there seems to be a lot of delays, a lot of starting, but never completely following through and everything else. And what I've identified are 3 big sticking points. I'm going to show you what those sticking points really are, and then how to actually coach someone through them. So here's where we start. Sticking point number 1 is that the perfectionist procrastinator has a tendency to spend an excessive amount of time and energy to ensure that everything that they do is flawless. So this sticking point gets them stuck, and it keeps them from being able to move forward. So our job as coaches is to help our clients identify the barrier and then help coach them through what's actually holding them up, and also to help them process options so that in many cases they can see with a different lens, and that they actually can come up themselves with the options, the strategy, the tactics, the steps to not get stuck along the way. So, how do we do that for this particular sticking point? Well, here's the shift that you have to help your client make. And a big part of that is redefining some things. In this case, we're going to redefine perfection, because honestly, perfection's really a myth. We all know that. Nothing's ever truly perfect, and nothing is ever truly done, right? But we can't wait on something to be perfect before we can move forward. That means that as we redefine this, the shift means is that we've got to adopt excellence over perfection. There's nothing wrong with excellence, because excellence, as we define it here, is all about doing the best you can with the resources that you have and with the time that you have, which is a lot more attainable. And what will happen is, because what happens in perfectionism is that people get paralyzed, they get stuck because it never seems to be good enough. And it doesn't mean that someone is lowering their standards. What we understand is that perfectionism is an impossible standard, because there is nothing that's truly perfect. But we can be excellent. We can be the best that we can be. It's not really lowering a standard. It's actually creating a standard that we can actually grab a hold of, that doesn't undermine us. And you know what you can always do? You can always improve. You can always improve from anything that you start. This is why I tell coaches it's really important. I'll speak to all of you coaches, you guys who are perfectionist procrastinators. It's never going to be perfect. I like to tell coaches this. Even bad coaching helps people. The only way that you can actually get really good and excel at coaching, you know how you got to, what allows you to excel is that you got to be willing to do it bad. You got to be willing to do it at the level that you know when you come out, because what will end up happening is that if you can start choosing excellent, then that means that you have a lifetime of improvement and you can start doing it today. You can begin doing things so that you keep an upward trajectory rather than being a perfectionist that never actually starts. So the shift has to be from perfectionism to excellence, because excellence is a very high standard, but it's attainable and we can actually move forward. So here's some coaching questions that if I was coaching someone who is a perfectionist procrastinator, here's how you can help them shift from from perfectionism into excellence. Here's how we would do that. Question one that you can ask: tell me about a time when you were successful but it wasn't perfect. This is a beautiful way to get them out of their stuck place, because here's what's true is that all of us can look back at a time when we were successful and we know that it wasn't perfect, but it was still a success. We can grab a hold of anything. It's really important to grab a hold of those stories, because what's happening for a perfectionist is that they can't move forward because they think that there's going to be failure over there, which failure, not only a fear of failure, but also a fear of failure of not doing it perfect. What we want to do is that we want to get them out of that fear and we want them to get confident. And you know what I want as well? I want them to feel the emotions that go with being successful, because they're so afraid of failure. They're feeling that emotion. What I want them to feel, I want them to reconnect with the time when they were successful so that they can start feeling good about the process now instead of that being delayed later. Here's the second question. Second question is, what small step can you take right now to move forward, even if it's not perfect? Remember, what we want to do is that we want to get them moving. We want to make sure that they're not in delay, they're not holding themselves back. And so we're asking them for one small step. Can you take one small step? Something that actually moves us forward. I understand if you can't move 5 steps forward, you can't even move fast, but can we take one step today that begins to move you towards what you want, even if it's not perfect? Here's the third question. How do you decide if a task is good enough to be considered complete? It's an important question. And here's the reason why. I don't have it with me right now, but if I have my phone, one of the things that's true every year is that all of the phone companies, at some time of the year, they release a new version of their phone. Companies do the exact same thing, or they release later versions of software and different kinds of things like that. One of the things that is certain is that when Apple releases its new iPhone, do you know it is not perfect? It is absolutely not perfect. Why? Because what did I say earlier? Perfection is a myth. They know it's not perfect. What they have decided to do is to try different things and to understand consumer needs, and also to use the latest hardware, the latest technology, update their operating system. They have all of these different things that they're trying to do. And you know what? There's all of these app development companies and everything else. So we're trying to please a lot of different people. The reality is that the day that that phone drops, we're going to find out. Apple's going to find out how close to perfection they really got. And if any of you have ever been the day that the latest something came out, you probably found that there were problems. There were problems with the technology, problems with the software, or whatever. That doesn't hurt their feelings at all. What they're going to do is that they're going to respond to it and they're going to make it better, because it was more important to release it with some bugs that they don't know about than to not release it at all. You know what happens if they don't release it? Then that means that they lose market share. It means that people get impatient with the technology. They're always looking for the next greatest thing and everything else. So to keep yourself from becoming antiquated or to never launch your coaching practice for you personally, it means that you've got to decide what is good enough. And even though and here's the thing, you're never going to get to 100%. You know what that means? Is that you're going to have to decide at a certain point, I can't get to 100%, but maybe 70% is as far as I'm going to be able to bring it. It's as close to perfection as I'm going to feel like it is. And even though that's a C grade for you, it's still going to be an A grade for everybody else. And you know what you can do? Because you got it launched, you got it released, you can always come back and you can change things. This is the encouragement that you also have to give your clients. Here's the next thing. A second sticking point for the perfectionist procrastinators is that they hesitate to start tasks due to a fear of failure or uncertainty about doing them correctly. So, how do we fix that? Well, a big shift here is that we need time management with limits. What do I mean by that? Well, what we need to do to help the client is that we've got to help them create a schedule that includes specific blocks for particular tasks and encourage them to stick to the time limits and reassess their work once the time is up, emphasizing that moving forward is more important than perfect completion. So, this is the way that we're going to utilize time. Maybe we can emphasize that failure is actually not completing something in a time frame, as opposed to getting held up in tasks that seem to take forever and ever. Some coaching questions around this that you can ask are: how do you decide if a task is good enough to be considered complete? We need the client to really define this. And obviously, they need to redefine what this is if it's a place that's getting them stuck. Second question: what would it look like to focus on progress rather than perfection in your daily tasks? So, again, the emphasis is always on the wrong thing with perfection because we know it's a myth. We first redefine things so that they're looking for excellence as opposed to perfection. But on this, we want them to focus on progress rather than perfection. How far along did I get? How much did I get done? How much did I get accomplished? The focus has got to be on something. Let's focus them on something that moves them forward. Focusing on excellence, in many cases, focusing on perfection is not going to move you forward. Focusing on progress will move you forward. Here's a third question that I would throw in with that. If we can agree that 100% perfect is impossible, what percentage could be acceptable to allow you to move forward? Again, we are wanting them to redefine that. I think it's really important first to have a lens to say, okay, I agree that perfection is impossible and it's shutting me down. Second thing, though, is that you have to have an agreement with the client to be able to move forward as you're coaching them. So, are we agreed not only about this definition of perfectionism, but are we agreed on a percentage that you can say, hey, at this percentage, I'm going to allow myself to say, this is excellent, this is okay, this is enough, this is presentable enough, or whatever. And that way we can move forward. Again, whatever that percentage is. And for some people, they're probably going to have to be encouraged, like, okay, this can't be 90%. For some people, in their minds, it can't even be 85 or 80%. Some people are only going to get up to 75% and they're going to get stuck there and not be able to move forward. So that means that we've got to come into some agreement and we've got to position things ultimately so that the client can win and they can move forward. Here's the third sticking point and the last one for perfectionist procrastinators. And a big one is how they view tasks as obligations rather than activities that they want to do. It's a major, major thing is that people view perfectionist procrastinators view things that they have to do when you see something as an obligation, when you see something as an I have to do this, then what happens for you? Everybody, a big key motivator for human beings is autonomy. When you feel like you don't have a choice and you don't have a will in the matter, in many cases, it lowers, and in almost every case, it lowers your desire to do something. So, what we have to help our clients do is to begin to reframe the I have to's to an I want to or I choose to. Because what's happening is that you have an inner dialogue that's going on. That inner dialogue that's present is shutting them down. So this big shift is really a shift in vocabulary, because I don't know how much you guys pay attention to your words, but your words create worlds. Your words also can hype you up or they can lower your state. I was teaching this to my advanced skills training crew this weekend. You know, if you say that you hate doing this, I don't want to do this. I shouldn't have to do this. This is so boring. I hate Mondays, all of those kinds of things. You know what you do when you say, I hate a Monday, even? Well, my daughter's the funniest because she's 11 years old. And she said, Mondays shouldn't be a thing. And I'm like, well, every week is going to start with a day, regardless. Your work week or your school week's going to start with some day. She's like, well, Mondays shouldn't be a thing. Maybe they shouldn't even make us go to school. I don't think that you should make kids to go to school on Mondays. Make them go to school on Tuesdays because Mondays are terrible. And I'm like, what's the difference between Monday and any other day except it's the beginning of the week? But see, our vocabulary, and I teach my daughter this. What you say about Monday, cursing a Monday before you ever start a Monday, is one of the worst things that you could possibly do. But people never pay attention to their words. They're not responsible and disciplined with their mouth. And what happens is that where your mouth goes, the energy flows and your emotions are going to go along with it. Your state will literally follow what your vocabulary says. So that means that even with this, that's a good example for that. But specifically for the task and the things that you don't want to do, you're not doing yourself any favor saying that you hate something, it's boring, I have to do this or whatever. It's always going to steal your motivation. And here's the thing is that there's going to be some hard task that you don't like doing en route to your goal. That's also why a lot of people don't achieve their goals, because of the hard things. If everything was easy, then everybody would do it. But it's the hard things, and it's usually the small, annoying, mundane, boring things that stop us. So, how do we fix this? Well, again, we're going to reframe in using these kinds of questions. Question one, we ask the client, how can you reframe your have to task into want to task to create more motivation? So I can say I want to or I choose to. Those are major differences in major upgrades in vocabulary. What would make this task feel more enjoyable or rewarding? It's really important that they have something that engages the pleasure part of them. Is there a way to make this more enjoyable? Is there a way to make this more rewarding? Can there somehow be something rewarding attached to it that allows them to be motivated? I like to give myself rewards every now and then, especially when I work really, really hard. Sometimes that reward looks like a nap. Even Saturday night after we wrapped up advanced skills training, I remember I got home and I said to my wife, I got home, I ate something. I said, I think I'm going to treat myself to a Dr. Pepper tonight. I think that I actually earned that, but then I ended up crashing for the night. So it didn't actually happen. I think that when you know that and it doesn't matter what the reward is, some kind of a reward. The important thing is when they have something that accomplishing a task has some kind of a benefit. I know we can give people feedback. I know we can encourage them. Way to go. All of those other things. You should always cheerlead in that kind of a way. But they need something that gives them some kind of a motivation to continue going on. And here's a third question that would go along with that. How does this task connect to something meaningful in your life? You know, sometimes the things that keep you in the trenches and keep you in the game is because there's someone that's going to lose if you don't do it. That's what I would even say to all of you. Who loses the most if you don't get your coaching career started? Who loses the most if you don't go get trained and certified? Probably not you. Probably other people. Not only the people that you would be coaching, but maybe your kids, maybe your spouse, maybe your grandkids, maybe your wallet. I don't know, but there's something that is lost because we won't go out and we won't do the hard things. And so we help our clients be able to connect it with that, and that gives extraordinary motivation. Let me pay the bills really quick. I will say that next week we're going to be talking about worriers, our second procrastinator type, and that's what we're going to be focused on next week. And they're kind of similar to perfectionists. This Thursday, for those of you who have been looking forward to getting trained and certified as a Christian coach, our certified professional, this is our second advanced skills certification that we offer, and it's called Masters Academy. Just as a reminder of what Masters Academy is, it's a new program where and it's specifically for Christian life coaches. We're going to do 6 weekly sessions over Zoom. We'll have those replays available 24 hours later. That's going to include role-playing demos and Q&As. And you're also going to get coaching tools for each pillar of the model that we're teaching. So when I say pillar that we're teaching, this is our own program that we have written ourselves through the IIPP transformational model. And that's not something that you can learn anywhere else. It's something that's proprietary that we've learned along the way. What you're going to learn is how to put the model in use to help people specifically in Christian coaching get extraordinary breakthrough and really encounter God. Yes, you will earn an advanced CPC credential, and there's also an opportunity to license to be able to train other coaches. It's the first and only program that we're doing like that, so that when you go through this, you're going to have the ability to train your own coaches. So there is a business opportunity that's attached to this as well. The certification for this, you do have to have a basic credential in order to join this program. Please don't enroll if you have not gotten a certification from somewhere, if not us. The cost is only $395, and there is a payment plan available. You can also buy the bundle, and you can get trained and certified at as a coach and get your basic credential while we do these things on Thursdays. This weekend, though, is bootcamp weekend. So what's happening at bootcamp weekend? Well, there's 7 powerful weekend sessions. These are the sessions that we are covering, all 7 of them. Foundations of coaching, the anatomy of a dynamic coaching session, how to help your clients get extraordinary results, how to listen on a transformational level, how to ask powerful questions, how to establish a growing coaching practice. And every one of those sessions also include Q&As, and we will also have time for live coaching demonstrations. What's included in this program? 7 sessions with live Q&As and role playing. You're also going to walk away with coaching tools, a number of them. One of them that we give you is the 5-tool coaching starter pack that helps you get transformation with your clients. But you're also going to walk away with question samples. You're going to walk away with coaching agreement and intake samples. One of the big things that we do is that we actually have a template that we've created inside of Canva that you can edit and you can make your own. So all the language is in there. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you a welcome pack to start so that you're not having to formulate and find somebody to get that from. Couple of other things. You're going to obviously earn your CLC life coach certification. You will get a certificate. You will receive HD replays and handouts. You'll also get free audits for life. You will also get invitations to Tuesday night live training. The cost is only $247. You can enroll for as low as $47. In this program, as are all of our programs at Life Coach Training Institute, are all fully accredited. So you can get trained, you can get certified, you can get all the help that you need from an accredited school. That is that. Let me see if I've got any questions over here that I need to say hello to. Americo says, invest in yourself. It is worth it. I don't know why it didn't show that. Light it up. It's not lighting it up. Let me say hello to Funmi. Gerlinda says the perfectionist reframing. Well, I don't know why it won't show it. Come on. There it goes. Gerlinda says the perfectionist reframing seems to tie in nicely with the value and meaning conversation and reframing in advanced skills training. Good catch. Charlotte says, how would you know? What is going on? What is going on? Let's see what's going on. All right. Everybody's still there. Says that we're connected. All right. Are we connected? Hello. Oh, we are connected. Okay. How would we know initially that our client is a perfectionist? Well, the easiest thing to do is if you go back to last week, I gave you a little quiz. So the easiest thing to do is you can totally steal those questions off of, and most people will say, I'm a perfectionist. They usually already know. But last week, I actually gave a little quiz that you could take yourself or give to other people, and it'll help them determine if they have those tendencies. Another question, joining Charlotte's question about recognizing the perfectionist, especially when it's close to the worrier. Yeah, it is very, very close because there's a lot of the same kinds of things. What are audits? That just means that you get to come back for free in the future. Awesome. Do you have LCTI in Spanish? We do not, because I don't speak Spanish. Awesome. Well, very good. Well, listen, everybody. I don't know what we had some kind of a glitch for a second there where we got disconnected, but it looks like we're back. So listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Listen, the link to enroll in either Jumpstart or any of these programs, you're going to find those inside of the info, the video info of this particular video. I'm going to highly encourage you to just click on there and get enrolled as quickly as possible. This weekend is basically here. If you don't do it now, you're probably going to forget. So jump in there. Go on. Listen, if you haven't gotten trained and certified yet, stop procrastinating. Like it's not going to happen in the future. You know, I'll watch people and they'll flirt around with things and they'll sign up for a free course or they'll sign up for an email list. It doesn't mean anything until you actually do it. You got to take that step. So let's make it happen. And hopefully I'll see you this weekend. Listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Have a great rest of your week and take care.